You know how every year there's that big question, what games are actually worth getting excited about? Which ones are gonna be fun, worth your time, and not just another overhyped mess? So I decided to put together a video with 10 top picks that I think are 100% worth checking out this year. Of course, we all have different tastes, so if your most anticipated game isn't on the list, feel free to drop it in the comments and let's talk about it. And hey, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on anything. Alright, let's get into it. Enjoy the video. Let's start with The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion Remastered, a legendary RPG back in a fresh, modern package. Originally released in 2006, Oblivion was a huge step forward for open-world games, and now in 2025, the remaster updates its visuals with cleaner textures, better lighting, and support for modern resolutions, making it finally comfortable to play without losing the original charm. The story takes place in the fantasy world of Tamriel, in the province of Cyrodiil. You're a prisoner who ends up in the middle of a crisis. Portals to a demonic realm are opening across the land and you've got to stop it, or at least survive long enough to figure things out. What makes Oblivion special is the freedom. You can follow the main quest, join factions like the Dark Brotherhood or Thieves Guild, or just explore. It's full of strange side stories, memorable locations, and that old school Bethesda weirdness that somehow still works. Sure, some parts feel a bit dated, like the combat or repeated voice lines, but that's part of its identity. It's a little awkward, a little goofy, but still packed with heart. Oblivion Remastered is a great reason to return, or to finally experience this classic for the first time. If you're into deep open-ended RPGs with real atmosphere and soul, this one's still got it. Doom. The Dark Ages is a bold new take on the iconic series. It's a prequel to Doom 2016, but instead of high-tech labs and sci-fi corridors, this time you're thrown into a dark medieval-inspired world where ancient tech and demonic magic clash in brutal fashion. You're still the Doomslayer, only now you're wielding a massive shield, brutal melee weapons, and pure rage. The gameplay sticks to what Doom does best: fast, aggressive combat with zero downtime and a whole lot of blood. It's not about hiding or cover systems, it's about momentum, violence, and turning everything in your path into ash. Visually, it leans hard into gothic vibes. Think castles, cathedrals, and twisted landscapes that look like they came straight off a heavy metal album. Even though the setting is darker and older, the game still feels stylish and loud. And yeah, the soundtrack? As brutal as ever, pounding metal that fuels every punch, shot, and explosion. What makes this entry stand out is the shift in tone. Still Doom at its core, but with a fresh identity. In 2025, the Dark Ages feels like the perfect evolution. Familiar, but not repetitive. If you're looking for chaos, blood, and non-stop action in a brand new world, this one's got you covered. Next up is Mafia: The Old Country, a return to the roots of the franchise, and then some. This prequel to the original Mafia drops us into early 20th century Italy, deep in the old country where loyalty, betrayal, and blood run through every cobbled street. Here, you don't play as a made man yet. You live through the transformation, from a young nobody to someone with power, responsibility, and a growing moral debt. It's gritty, cinematic, and loaded with drama. So far, it looks like the game is leaning hard into storytelling. Don't expect a massive open world. Think more handcrafted locations, strong characters, and moments that feel ripped from a classic mob film. The focus is on immersion, dialogue, and emotion, not just action. Gunfights and stealth are in, of course, but the real weight comes from the tension, whispers in dark alleys, deals made over wine, and the slow build-up to violence. And visually, if what Hangar 13 is teasing is real, we're in for one of the most atmospheric Mafia stories ever put on screen. If you're into crime dramas, slow burn storytelling, and rich atmosphere, Mafia: The Old Country should definitely be on your radar in 2025. Borderlands 4 is shaping up to be another wild, chaotic ride through the galaxy. Bigger, louder, and even more unhinged than before. This time, Gearbox is promising a darker story, new characters, and a fresh setting, while still keeping the core formula that fans love: shoot, loot, and laugh. The game reportedly introduces a brand new planet, far from Pandora, with fresh biomes, enemies, and factions to deal with. Expect that over-the-top Borderlands humor, but mixed with a heavier tone and deeper narrative choices. Gameplay-wise, it's still a looter shooter at heart, guns everywhere, insane weapon effects, co-op chaos, and the return of unique character abilities that completely change how you play. But this time there's more focus on progression, customization, and consequences. Visually, the game keeps its signature cel-shaded style, but turns everything up a notch. More detailed environments, crazier explosions, and smoother animations that make combat even more satisfying. In a world full of live service clones and safe sequels, Borderlands 4 feels like a rare mix of classic fun and new ambition, action. If you're into fast-paced, co-op heavy action with style and attitude, this one's gonna hit hard in 2025. Dying Light. The Beast takes the franchise in a darker, more brutal direction, both narratively and visually. This isn't just another zombie survival game, it's a deeper, more personal story set in a world that feels more hopeless than ever. The game follows a new protagonist, haunted by their past and hunted by both the infected and the living. Techland is aiming for a more mature tone this time around, fewer one-liners, more emotional weight, and a story that puts consequences front and center. Gameplay-wise, it's still the parkour-driven first-person action fans love. Fast traversal, fluid combat, and brutal finishers. But now, parkour has been expanded with more verticality and mobility tools, while combat is more grounded, heavy, and punishing. Visually, the game is darker and more atmospheric. Interiors are more claustrophobic, exteriors more desolate. It feels like you're always being watched. And that's exactly what the devs want. The infected aren't just cannon fodder anymore, they're terrifying, especially at night. With a stronger narrative, upgraded mechanics, and a relentless tone, Dying Light. The Beast feels like the evolution the series needed. If you're into intense survival, smart movement, and a world that never gives you a break, this one's going to be worth every heartbeat. Next up, we've got Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, a game that picks up right where the first one left off, with gritty realism, medieval politics, and a personal story of revenge. Set in 15th century Bohemia, it continues the journey of Henry, a blacksmith's son turned reluctant hero, caught between war, faith, and shifting loyalties. Even though the game came out back in early 2025, it still feels fresh, and absolutely worth diving into. With its deep world building, grounded storytelling, and flexible playstyle, it's the kind of game that can easily hook you for hundreds of hours. There's no magic, no dragons, just raw historical immersion. Combat is weighty and brutal, quests feel organic, and choices carry real weight. The cinematic presentation, full motion capture, voice dialogue, detailed characters, adds even more depth. The gameplay brings back the signature mix, sword fighting, stealth, survival mechanics, and open world exploration. But this time, systems like crime and reputation feel more impactful. Visually, Bohemia looks better than ever. Muddy streets, thick forests, candlelit halls. It's rich in atmosphere, and the soundtrack locks you in completely. If you're craving a serious RPG with no fantasy fluff, Deliverance 2 still stands tall as one of 2025's best. Next up, we've got Split Fiction, a brand new co-op adventure from Hazelight Studios, the creators of It Takes Two. And just like their last hit, this one's all about working together, but with a wild, unpredictable twist. In Split Fiction, you and your partner play two characters trapped inside a surreal, ever-shifting storybook world. Every chapter throws you into a new genre. One minute you're in a noir detective mystery, the next you're in a space opera, then suddenly a spaghetti western. Each world comes with its own mechanics, challenges, and rules. But it's not just a gimmick. The emotional core is still there. The game focuses on the relationship between the two protagonists, exploring themes like trust, memory, and identity. Dialogue is fully voiced, choices matter, and moments of real heart are balanced with pure chaos. Gameplay is built for two, couch co-op or online, with puzzles, platforming, and action sequences that demand coordination. And visually, it's gorgeous, handcrafted, stylized worlds that change constantly but always feel alive. If you enjoyed It Takes Two or just love smart, emotional co-op games with creative flair, Split Fiction is one to watch closely in 2025. Next up is Ghost of Yote, the spiritual successor to Ghost of Tsushima, but with a new protagonist, a different region, and a deeper focus on atmosphere and emotional weight. Set in early 17th century Japan, it captures a time when the samurai way is fading and nothing feels certain anymore. This time you're not playing a legend, you're just a man pulled into a dirty war where the lines between friend and enemy blur fast. The story is darker, more personal, and more grounded in the struggles of identity, honor, and loss. Gameplay builds on what made Tsushima great: fluid sword combat, stealth, and exploration. But now, moral choices matter more. The world reacts to how you fight, who you spare, and how far you'll go. There's also more verticality, with caves, cliffs, and temple paths winding around the foot of Mount Yote. Visually, it's a masterpiece. Fog rolling through forests, crimson leaves swirling in the wind, rain dripping from shrine rooftops. Every frame feels like a painting. The soundtrack is subtle and haunting, pulling you deeper into the experience. Ghost of Yote isn't about being a hero. It's about surviving, choosing, and walking through the fog one step at a time. Next up is Elden Ring Night Rain. And no, this isn't just DLC. It feels like a full-blown sequel wrapped in shadows. If you've braved the lands between and lived to tell the tale, this expansion is calling you right back into the abyss. Set after the events of the original, Night Rain takes place in a world where everything has shifted. Familiar places are now cloaked in darkness. The old gods have fallen silent. And from deep below, a new threat, the Shadow King, is rising. It's a colder, bleaker take on Elden Ring, with new lore, enemies, and mysteries that never give straight answers but always make you think. The gameplay is tougher, bosses are more relentless, the environment is crueler, and new darkness mechanics force you to adapt in ways you didn't before. You won't just hack and slash, and you'll plan, survive, and die. A lot. Visually, it's stunning and terrifying. Twisted landscapes, burning skies, ruined cathedrals whispering old prayers, and the soundtrack, cold, haunting, and unforgettable. This expansion isn't beginner-friendly, but if you're craving more pain, more beauty, and that distinct From Software dread, Night Rain is exactly what you've been waiting for. So yeah, that's my personal list of the most exciting games I'm really looking forward to. Now it's your turn. Drop your own list of most anticipated games in the comments. And of course, don't forget to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos. See you in the next one.